We'll have to go across now to Rome, where a press conference is being addressed by Foreign Secretary Harshvardhan Shringla, I'm given to understand.
Not the end of day 2, but this is a good opportunity since Foreign Secretary has kindly agreed to spend some time to explain what exactly has been happening and what has been the Prime Minister's agenda. So, sir, I will give you the floor, sir. Thank you.
Namaskar and good evening. Is it okay? Namaskar and good evening. As JSXP has just mentioned, today is day 2 of the Prime Minister's visit to Rome for the G20 summit. It has been a full day of engagements, and the day hasn't ended. There are still a few events that the Prime Minister is scheduled to attend. On his first engagement of the day, the Prime Minister called on His Holiness Pope Francis at the Vatican. You are already aware of some of the details of that very special meeting. But as you know, this is a unique occasion, as the last interaction between the Prime Minister of India and the Pope was in June 2000, when late Prime Minister Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee met Pope John Paul II at the Vatican. This is a private audience that the Prime Minister had with the Pope. The two leaders discussed many topical issues, including the COVID-19 pandemic, economic and health recovery from the pandemic, the issue of climate change and the environment. You can judge the warmth of the conversation by the fact that the meeting was to have been a 20-minute schedule, but lasted for around an hour. The Prime Minister invited Pope Francis to visit India at an early date. The last papal visit to India was in 1999, when Pope John Paul II visited India. The Pope has graciously attended the Prime Minister's, accepted the Prime Minister's invitation, and in his own words, I'm paraphrasing him, he says, "You have given me the greatest gift. I'm looking forward to visiting India." The Prime Minister presented His Holiness with a silver candle stand and a book on our commitment to the environment. The Pope reciprocated with a bronze plaque with the inscription, "The desert will become a garden." As you know, this is a quote from the Old Testament. Prime Minister also had a brief meeting with the Secretary of State of the Vatican, His Eminence Cardinal Pietro Parolin. Prime Minister then subsequently visited the venue of the G20 summit, where he attended the inaugural ceremony with the other leaders. And thereafter, he attended the first session on the global economy and global health. In his intervention at this first event of the G20, the Prime Minister highlighted India's contribution in the fight against the pandemic. He mentioned India's medical supply to over 150 countries. He spoke about our vision of One Earth, One Health, which is essentially the need for a collaborative approach in the international domain in the fight against the corona pandemic. I'm talking about collaboration from R&D, research, to collaboration in actually combating pandemics, collaboration across the board in developing mechanisms that can cope with future pandemics and future global health issues. So the concept of One Earth, One Health, I think, is something that was enunciated by the Prime Minister, well received by G20 leaders, because this is something that I think is very, very important to the international community, and we are looking for comprehensive global solutions that can address issues that also deal with problems of inequity, problems that developing countries face, and this is again another approach towards the overall concept of the global common good that the Prime Minister has spoken of on a number of occasions. Prime Minister stressed on the need for resilient global supply chains, mentioned also India's bold economic reforms, the lowering of the cost of doing business with India. He spoke about innovation in India, the efforts at developing a sort of a culture of innovation. He invited the G20 countries to make India their partner in economic recovery and supply chain diversification. I think in some senses, the Prime Minister also brought out the fact that despite the challenges of the pandemic, India continued to be a trusted partner in the context of reliable supply chains. He spoke about the IT sector, the BPOs, where we did not allow the pandemic to come in the way of our contribution in the overall chain, in the global processes. The Prime Minister expressed satisfaction over the G20's decision to come up with a 15% minimum corporate tax to make the global financial architecture more just and fair. You are aware of the 15% minimum corporate tax, which ensures that companies don't go to the lowest possible tax haven in order to minimize their tax burden, and that the large multinational corporations pay their share of taxes to countries that they are located in. Here, I think it was also pertinent to mention that it was in 2014 that the Prime Minister had first proposed this idea of a minimum corporate tax in order to prevent, to some extent, evasion of taxes or, the concept. 2014, the G20 summit, was it?
Yes,
was that?
2000.
The 2014 G20 summit is when the Prime Minister spoke about this. He first mentioned the concept. So today there is satisfaction over the fact that the G20 has actually adopted this. This has become a global norm, and I think this is a very important step in ensuring more rationalized global tax structures and better cooperation in the international domain when it comes to issues like tax evasion, money laundering, corruption, so on and so forth. Some of the issues that the G20 is very, very currently dealing with. Prime Minister conveyed that India has not only vaccinated over 1 billion of our citizens, but more important is that we are ready to produce over 5 billion vaccine doses by the end of next year. This obviously will be available not only for our citizens, but the rest of the world, and that this is our own contribution to reducing, as I mentioned, vaccine inequities, especially in the developing world. Obviously, we also believe that the WHO's approval, the emergency use authorization for Covaxin, our indigenous vaccine pending with them, would facilitate this process of our assisting other countries. So there was emphasis on vaccine research, manufacturing, and I mentioned innovation also. We have obviously invested a fair amount in that effort in order to make it available for our citizens and citizens all across the world. The Prime Minister spoke about facilitating international travel. I did mention this yesterday, but he mentioned it in his statement at the G20 today. He talked about the mechanism of mutual recognition of vaccine certification as a means of achieving this. After the G20 session, the Prime Minister held two formal meetings. You would have seen photographs. He has met all of the G20 leaders that have come there. They've exchanged notes, but he had two formal meetings. One was with the President of France, His Excellency Mr. Emmanuel Macron. And in that context, the Prime Minister welcomed the European Union's Indo-Pacific strategy. You recall that the Prime Minister had met both the President of the European Union and the European Union's Council and the European Union's Commission. And yesterday, and spoken about the Indo-Pacific strategy, he did say that France had played an important role in facilitating a European Union Indo-Pacific strategy, and he thanked the French President for his leadership role in developing this strategy. The two leaders reaffirmed their commitment to cooperate in the Indo-Pacific, to find new and innovative ways to cooperate to further the objective of a free, open, and inclusive rules-based order in the region. There was also a discussion on the forthcoming COP26 and climate change-related issues and the need to focus on climate finance. Prime Minister invited President Macron to visit India at an early opportunity. The next meeting of the Prime Minister was with the Prime Minister of Singapore, His Excellency Mr. Lee Hsien Loong. Prime Minister has met the Singapore Prime Minister on a number of occasions, but this is their first meeting in the post-pandemic period. I think this is a good opportunity for the leaders to link up with each other. With the Prime Minister of Singapore, Prime Minister discussed global efforts to combat climate change and the forthcoming COP26. They discussed efforts to contain the COVID-19 pandemic through expedited vaccination efforts and ensuring supply of critical medicines. In that context, the Prime Minister thanked the Prime Minister of Singapore for his assistance and that of the government and people of Singapore during our second wave of the crisis. When Singapore, we were able to source a very large number of our requirements in terms of ISO cryogenic tankers, concentrators, oxygen equipment from Singapore. Prime Minister Lee congratulated our Prime Minister on the rapid vaccination drive in India. They discussed ways to enhance people-to-people ties, in particular resumption of early travel between both countries, which is, as I mentioned yesterday, in terms of facilitating travel of our citizens to countries that are partner countries. I think the discussion of the Prime Minister of Singapore was particularly relevant. Prime Minister will attend a formal cultural event and a leaders' dinner this evening. Tomorrow, as you're aware, there are two more sessions of the G20 on climate change and environment and a working lunch on sustainable development. In addition, the Prime Minister will also attend a side event hosted by President of the United States, His Excellency Mr. Joe Biden, on supply chain resilience. He will also hold other bilateral meetings on the sidelines of the G20 summit. Thereafter, the Prime Minister will depart for Glasgow, where he will attend the COP26 summit.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the, I see some. Look, today time is actually very tight. We'll take the questions. We'll start with the ones. Yeah, please go ahead. Please keep it brief today.
Manishan, sir, the meeting with the Pope lasted for over an hour. You spoke about some major issues you should discuss, poverty, climate. Could you give a flavor of the conversation? And this issue of religious freedom, did it figure in the discussions? Could you just broaden the briefing on this? And the second part is, in the meeting with the French leader, French president, did AUKUS figure in the discussions? France expressed an interest in joining the Quad in some way or supporting the Quad, something to that effect. Thank you.
Please.
Sir, Pranay Upadhyay from ABP News. क्या आज की जो G20 की बैठक थी उसके अंदर ग्लोबल एनर्जी क्राइसिस को लेकर भी कोई बातचीत हुई है और क्या पीएम ने इस मामले को उठाया है कि दुनिया भर में जो एनर्जी क्राइसिस या एनर्जी के प्राइसेस बढ़ रहे हैं उसको किस तरीके से हैंडल किया जा सकता है?
Siddhant.
Sir, during his intervention, Siddhant from WION, sir, during his intervention, how much focus was there on climate issue? Because this year's G20 is all about COVID crisis and climate change, and we have seen an increasingly divided world when it comes to climate change over climate financing as we go to the Glasgow climate meeting.
Sir, Pragya from ANI, also about Pope's meeting, you said that he has invited and Pope has accepted the invitation. So is there a timeline to the visit of Pope to India and also significance of it?
So, okay, now let me start by answering Manish's question. The meeting between the Prime Minister and His Holiness the Pope was a very personal meeting. In other words, they spent time on a one-to-one basis. I know that the meeting was characterized by warmth and candor. Both, I think, the Pope and the Prime Minister spoke of a number of issues, which, as I mentioned, are topical and relevant to societies all over the world. How do you deal with this issue of the COVID pandemic? What have we done in terms of our own health preparedness, best practices in India, also issues of which are relevant to the world, like climate change, the environment. I think there was also a conversation of a number of unique steps that we have taken in our own way to help communities and people in distress all over the world, whether it was facilitating evacuations in Iraq or from Yemen or from different parts of the world, Afghanistan. I think, and of course, His Holiness took a lot of time to explain to the Prime Minister about the Vatican, about their work, about some of the interesting artifacts and memorabilia that is there in the Vatican. It's like a museum. It's a very, I would say, place which has housed centuries of religious and spiritual objects, of reverence for people all over the world. So it has to be seen in that context. I can tell you that no issue of the sort that you have alluded to was ever discussed. As I said, it was not a discussion on any of issues of that nature. It was a discussion which was completely devoid of any extraneous issues. It was confined to a very, very warm and I would say very convivial conversation between the two leaders. Now, as far as the meeting with President Macron is concerned, I do recall that AUKUS came up, but very tangentially in the conversation. It was not a major subject of conversation or topic by itself. There was no discussion on Quad whatsoever. प्रणय, आपने G20 के बारे में ये ग्लोबल एनर्जी क्राइसिस का मुद्दा आपने पूछा कि अगर ये मुद्दा रेज हुई थी मीटिंग में. आपको पता है कि जो पहला मीटिंग आज G20 की हुई वो सिर्फ हेल्थ इश्यूज पे थी, तो ये शायद एनर्जी क्राइसिस उसका इतना रेलेवेंस नहीं था, और हो सकता है कि ये बाद में किसी मौका अगर मिले तो ये इसका चर्चा जरूर होगी, पर आज नहीं हुई है इसकी. Siddhant, you spoke about a possible climate divide, or rather a divide in the G20 on climate-related issues. I don't see it that way. I think G20 represents countries that have, I would say, prominent countries all over the world that contribute greatly to the global economy and also, more important, dealing with the problems that the world faces. And I think the endeavor of the leaders is to find solutions. Obviously, there are different ways of finding those solutions, but everybody knows that climate change is an issue. So you may have a different view about how to tackle the issue of climate change. You may feel that there is more emphasis on one or the other areas of climate change. But the fact that climate change is a problem for the globe to face is there. I'm sure, there's another full day of meetings which are there. I'm sure at the end of this all, we will find that the G20 will have solutions, will have outcomes that represent a consensual view of the organization. So that's all I can say for now on this issue. I think from ANI the question was whether the Pope, about the Pope's, the invitation that the Prime Minister accepted, extended to the Pope.
The timeline.
That's right. So, you know, we didn't the Prime Minister and the Pope did not discuss the dates of the visit. Prime Minister said, please visit India at your earliest convenience. Obviously, these, the actual details will be worked out through diplomatic channels. The fact of the matter is the Prime Minister did invite the Pope. The significance of the invitation is well known to all of us. The last papal visit to India was in 1999 when Pope John Paul II visited India. It is obviously going to be a very important visit, both for India to receive His Holiness and for the Pope to visit India. As I did mention to you, the Pope was delighted to visit India. He has a although he's never been to India, he has obviously a great sentiment about our country, and he said that this is really the greatest gift that you could give me. I'm looking forward to my visit to India.
One-liner. Any quotable quote on what Pope said about India, you know, as in just a brief quote, India, or Prime Minister Modi?
Well, I did tell you what he said about India. But as I said, the meeting was one-to-one. I was not privy to the conversation, so I can't quote on something that I was not present in. But as I said, I mean, it was obviously a meeting that lasted much longer than was scheduled. It was a meeting that reflected warmth, and I would say conviviality. And it was a meeting that I think I can say that I saw that both the Prime Minister and the Pope had very, a sense of great bonhomie and closeness that radiated from both of them when you saw them together when we went and paid our respects to the Pope.
So we saw pictures of the President Joe Biden exchanging pleasantries with Prime Minister very warmly. So anything beyond that, anything they exchanged, they conversed?
Well, again, we were not present at that particular instant when Prime Minister met President Joe Biden. Obviously, the Prime Minister last met President Biden in Washington, D.C. Last month. They would have certainly recalled their meeting at that time. The Prime Minister has also accepted President Biden's invitation to attend his side event tomorrow evening. And I'm sure the Prime Minister will have very important interventions to make in that particular meeting.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for your presence and for the details that you provided. And I also thank all of you here, friends from the media who've joined us and those who are joining us live. Stay tuned to our social media channels as well as other website and other outlets of the ministry as the visit progresses tomorrow for the third day here. Thank you. Good evening.
Thank you.
So there you heard the press conference from the Ministry of External Affairs in Rome, where Foreign Secretary Harshvardhan Shringla spoke about the meetings that the Prime Minister had today and his interventions at the G20, where the Prime Minister spoke about a lot of things, from the contribution that India is making with regard to providing vaccines to the world, to the need for mutual recognition of vaccine candidates. Besides that, there were meetings that the Prime Minister had with the Prime Minister of Singapore, with the President of France, to name a few, and of course the important meeting that the Prime Minister had with Pope Francis in Vatican. That's about it then in this